I know they came to us a year and a half ago looking for the same thing. Again, they decided to stay with their own thing. So I know they've come to us twice and have said, we don't want to come to you. So I guess it's clear, based on the communications, that they don't want to come to us for dispatch. I think we need to keep on topic is the sheriff is going to honor whatever the commissioners and the delegation want. If they want to give him a tax break and they want to do a free fee structure, we'll do that. I don't think he's in favor of that. Actually, I know he's not in favor of that. The service is there, it's available, and if they want to, Conway, Wolfboro, and Moultonboro want to keep their own dispatch center because of the window service that it provides to their town, that's valuable and that's okay. We don't provide a window service here. We're,
Do you have any idea when those towns started with the dispatch center?
I know Conway's been, because I worked at Conway, I know Conway's been in existence since before '85, and I think they've had their own dispatch center all along for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Wolfboro.
Okay, what about ours?
Our dispatch, well, I know Scott Carr was talking to me about, he was instrumental in putting up the infrastructure, and I believe that was under Roy Larson. So that was a number of years ago. And Scott Carr was a sheriff for a number of, 10 or 12 years, and I would say probably 25, 30 years anyways.
Okay.
So I guess the sheriff's message is, he'll support whatever you want. But I think the direction that the town, that at least that I'm getting from Moultonboro is not the original reason why he came. They're looking for a tax break, and now he's.
Yeah.
So
we've asked the different towns to go back and provide us with information as to how many dispatchers they have, what is their pay, what's it cost for the total infrastructure, and I forget what else was asked, and they provided a lot of that information, maybe not completely.
Well, I think since you asked that, it's become very clear that all three towns want to keep their dispatch center. The reason why we asked that to see, okay, if we're going to take them on, what do we need to do?
All right.
It's a non-issue as far as I can see, based on the communication. It's all three want to keep their dispatch center. So that's probably not even a topic. It's basically, you want to give them a tax break or not. It's up to the commissioners and ultimately the delegation. And I was sitting in with, when it came up in the delegation, I think they were pretty clear that they don't want to do that.
Yeah. I raised the question that if they want a tax relief, what about their inmates that come from their town? Are we going to charge them for their inmates? There's a whole lot of services that the county provides that all the towns pick up their fair share. The town of Eaton or the town of Albany doesn't have a police force to dispatch for, but they're paying the bill. So we'll see how it goes this afternoon. As I said, anybody's welcome to attend. It's here at 1 o'clock. Okay, how did the committee, and who was on the committee that selected the top runners for the HR position?
Yeah, it was Sandy McKenzie from the nursing home, myself, Ann Aiton, and Jason Johnson.
Okay.
I think there was 20-something applications. We actually narrowed it down to two different 4 of the top that look best on paper that we think should interview, and also 3 that are currently employed in this county and or other counties that have years of experience and fit the application qualifications that we think you should interview as well. So we narrowed it down to 7 in 2 different categories, and you guys can decide how you want to handle that.
Okay. How does the board feel about going the next step? We need to interview these people. Do we want to interview them, the 3 of us, or do we want to involve the committee in the interviewing? What's your comments, I guess?
I think the commissioner should do the interviewing.
Strictly the commissioners?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't remember, but I think that when we interviewed for for someone to do a contract for the landscaping, the lawn work,
Yeah.
we had the committee
The
there
committee
to
would-
help us
yeah,
out,
yeah.
to give us.
We would have the final decision, the
Yes.
final say.
Yes,
But maybe we could use some help in getting other people involved. Maybe they got some questions we wouldn't think of.
and perhaps understanding what how they came to choose these people, what their criteria was. They're the ones who will be working with them as well.
True.
I would think it would be of some value to have the committee at least sit in on the interviews.
Okay. What's the timing? Shall we interview people next Wednesday, starting at 1 o'clock? Would be my suggestion. Do you have any other
Is
suggestions as to when we would start it,
I have
actually interviewing?
no problem, except I just wonder if that's enough time for the interviewees to make, to get here.
Schedule?
Yeah. But it's fine.
How do you feel, Asher?
Yep, that's okay.
Next Wednesday
Yeah, it
at
won't.
1 o'clock?
What happens if we find that there are people who just, for whatever
That
reason,
can't make it, we'll have to reschedule it
Okay.
for those that can't make it.
I mean, I wouldn't want to eliminate somebody just because they couldn't make an interview at that
Right,
particular time.
Right. Okay. So the feeling of two of us at least would be that the other committee members would be involved.
I think that would be helpful.
Do you have real opposition to that?
I
Commissioner
think
Kennedy?
that the commissioners should do the interviewing. The committee already narrowed it down. They already did their part.
Okay.
But Brett, what, if the commissioners are going to be the interviewers,
Mhm.
what would be the problem of having the people who also have some information, they've gone through the process, the same process I have, of reading all of the,
I read them all.
the papers that they sent in there. What would be wrong with having them just sit in? And if we had any questions, having them available to ask the question.
I didn't say anything, there was something wrong. The question was asked, how did I want it? And I said the board only. The
Okay.
question was it only the commissioners or do you want the committee sit in?
Yep.
And I said the commissioners only. So I didn't say there was anything wrong.
Okay, all right. I would suggest that we start at 1:45 next Wednesday with the committee and the commissioners. We'll set up the questions that we need to ask, and then we'll start the interviewing at 1 o'clock with as many as we can get. And we'll start with the outside applicants, and if they can't make it, then we'll go to the in-house, but we'll look at all 7 of them.
How many in-house again do you have?
3?
3, you
Not
said?
not necessarily true.
Oh.
We have 3 that work for counties in New Hampshire. There's actually.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. You're right, there was one from
One
another
from
county.
Stratford County and 2 from here.
Right, you're right.
That's again, we got 2 separate it's however you want to handle it. We thought they should be held in consideration for their
Yep.
position that they understand county government, which is different, and longevity in the county, and the position that they're in is, they could have enough information where it fits the criteria you guys laid out.
Okay, the next question I have is, have arrangements been made to notify those that were not selected?
You only asked us to come up with it, so
Okay.
we only did that, and
Okay.
I would just a concern, you might want to, who's ever reaching out to these people might want to be able to tell them the salary and maybe
Yep.
some expectations of what's going to be
Yep.
expected of them, because that might change some minds,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yep.
know?
Yep. Okay. All right. Our office will handle notifications then and setting up the schedule. Okay. Any other
I
questions?
think that we need to see first who they selected. Are we just going only what they are saying? Because we look also to all the applicants, and maybe we find somebody there where they don't select it. So how are we going to send notifications in that they are not? We should look ourselves, the board, at all of the applicants and see if we want to have somebody else also. And then we can look at their recommendations. And then after that, what we don't want, then we send a notification. We cannot just send now notifications out.
Okay. You have copies of all the applicants, right?
I don't know if it is all, I get some on my desk.
Okay.
And this morning, I think there were some new ones too.
The closing time was
I didn't see anything this
a
morning.
week ago
Yeah.
Friday, I believe.
I
Oh,
just
well,
saw-
you weren't in last week, that's why you think it's this morning.
Oh, so you got it. Oh, okay.
I can give
I
you
don't know when it came. I saw it
Copies
this
of all the applications that we had and the ones we picked and the ones that we didn't, and I agree with you that you should look at it. And there might be someone else in
Yeah.
there you might want, because we only did a recommendation, but,
Yeah.
so,
Where are those now?
right on my
You
desk.
have them?
Yeah.
Can you
If you let me know, I can hand them to you guys.
deliver them to the commissioners,
Okay, I'll bring them back up.
Okay? All right, good. Thank you, and thank the committee for the work that they
Thank you.
did. Thank you. And we'll see you at 1 o'clock, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Jason? Okay, Jason.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Sorry, good morning.
Current population, we have 42 in-house, we have no weekenders, we have 8 transfers, no electronic monitoring, and 7 on pretrial release for a total population of 57. Took in 16 inmates last week, 4 were repeaters and 23 were released. Repeater charges, 1 came in for theft by deception, resisting arrest, indecent exposure ×2, receiving stolen property, and simple assault, booked 24 times in 16 years. 1 for acts prohibited in protective custody, booked 4 times in 8 years. 1 for an electronic bench warrant, booked 4 times in 2 years. And 1 for DUI in protective custody, booked 5 times in 19 years. With respect to the pharmaceutical services, the doctors recommended the Westwood Pharmacy be selected. The contract with Omnicare expires at the end of this month, so we're just going to need to move on that pretty quick. So
What
we can-
criteria did they use to select that company?
They reviewed both the bids, and then they talked to other counties that have Westwood. One of the counties had both Westwood and the other bid, which was Diamond Pharmacy, and they recommended Westwood.
How many other
So-
counties have Westwood?
4 in this state, I believe.
4.
Yeah, it's Grafton, Sullivan, Hillsborough, and Stratford, I believe.
Okay.
So they, and plus they have the juvenile justice in the state of New Hampshire, so they provide services
State.
to state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who has the state prison?
I'm not sure who has a state prison.
Or who has the federal prison, I wonder?
The federal prison in Berlin?
Yeah,
It's not open yet, sir.
okay.
Then on Monday, we had a subcommittee meeting, another meeting scheduled for July 23rd. We're going to have a presentation from our current phone vendor, Black Box. Some of the discussion on Monday, I reached out to Teletechniques, which is the company that installed the system in the nursing home. There was talk about maybe putting some global system on the county so all the buildings can be tied together at some future point, maybe to save money. Wayne from Teletechniques is going to be on site next Monday to do a site survey, and then he'll be able to do a presentation. Unfortunately, due to the notice, he's not available to attend the meeting on July 23rd, so I'll have to schedule a meeting for him to come back. We're also looking at other avenues for a vehicle. And then a portion of the meeting on July 23rd is going to be non-public, so we can discuss security issues with respect to the fence. We can do a perimeter walk and things of that nature. And that's all I have at this point.
Okay, so you need a motion to accept Westwood as a recommendation for our pharmacy.
Yes.
We, each of us have had a notebook from the two different companies, from Diamond and from Westwood. The recommendation is Westwood. Do I hear a motion to accept Westwood as our
Is that the one with the
pharmacy?
M&Ms?
Yes.
With the M&Ms? I don't remember. Okay.
I guess I move to accept the Westwood application. Contract.
Okay, I'll second it. Any further discussion on selecting Westwood as the pharmacy for the jail, for the House of Corrections?
How long is the contract again?
The initial contract, ma'am, is 1 year.
Will they be available to get you medication on short notice?
Yes. I believe they can work with a local pharmacy if they don't have anything in stock in the emergency kit, then we can contract with a local pharmacy to get meds sooner.
Okay, any other further discussion? If not, all those in support of selecting Westwood as the pharmacy for the House of Corrections, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye. Any opposition, any opposed? Okay, then so voted unanimously. How many inmates now are working out on the farm? Any idea?
5 or 6 going out on a daily basis.
Okay. Have you heard anything from any other towns regarding working outside of the county complex?
Have Molten Borough right now. I think I briefed the commissioners on that a couple weeks ago about going over to the dump over there, and the town of Effingham. Would like to see if we can help clean up one of the walking paths or recreation area out behind the school.
Okay. Are you going to be able to do that with the help that you have?
We're working on establishing a schedule for that. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any further questions for? Go ahead.
Jason, how are we coming with the, I know this is non-public usually, but how are we coming with the jail security in terms of, shoring it up after the breakout?
There's been some modifications been made, and that's why we're working on having this subcommittee meeting for further measures.
And they can use the recreation yard now?
Correct.
That's been in operation for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
With the observation of a correctional officer?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a question?
No.
I just have one question. Of the 5 or 6 you say that go out to work the farm, how many are eligible to go out?
I have to go back and look at my count, ma'am. We
Just a
use
rough number.
a portion of the minimum security inmates. We dedicate them to inside
Right.
work crews because we have the cleaning and
Oh, I
stuff like
see.
that.
Oh,
So
okay.
and then some other, because of maybe some health issues, they can't go out. And we keep a portion of those people dedicated to them, because we do all of our cleaning at night. So we use a lot of that, we have like 4 people dedicated to that at night.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. No further questions for
Nope.
Jason? No? Okay, yeah, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll open it up for a public comment.
Can I have a couple things to run by.
Okay.
I just got a copy here from Belknap County. This is about a jail.
Yeah.
I've been asking for a long time, who is doing the jail grievance investigation?
That's the
Because now this is a report. Why was I not included? Who made that decision? Who do you hire to do that investigation?
We'll talk
It was about the
that.
harassment policy.
We'll talk about that in non-public session.
It was about harassment policy and who did that.
Mhm. We'll talk about it in non-public. We have explanations for it.
Because this is bias. I don't accept that. That's ridiculous.
Well, that's your opinion, I guess.
Yeah. You're letting somebody else from another jail doing this investigation where there is so many conflict.
We had, okay,
I get this copy handed from somebody from HR and her husband worked there. He is involved. Is that not a conflict?
Okay,
This
okay.
is,
It's a
this is,
conflict.
excuse me.
I will just try to answer your question very briefly. We asked the sheriff's department to investigate. They couldn't do it. They refused because they're going to be involved in a case. We asked the county attorney to investigate it. He's prosecuting, maybe prosecuting that case. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. The suggestion was by them to go to a correctional facility outside of Carroll County to do the investigation, and that's where we went.
Was
We'll
there
talk
no-
about the rest of
Was there no
it
other
in
sheriff's
non-public.
department or a police chief? This should be done by law enforcement.
Well, that's your opinion. The opinion of the county attorney and others was that we go to a correctional facility because they understand the
Well, I don't,
correctional operations in their jail as well as in other jails.
I don't know, I have to ask, because the other day you said also the county attorney read the ID contract.
No,
And
we're
he
not gonna-
recommend, and
we're not
he
gonna get into any
no,
further
let me
discussion.
finish.
No,
And he
no.
recommended that. And when I asked the county attorney, he said he never read the contract and he never said anything and he never recommended that. So you've been calling names again, I have to check on that,
Go ahead, check on it.
because it's very strange.
Point
I
of
mean,
order,
there was-
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Without going into the non-public portion, is this about the investigation of when the young man broke out?
No.
And
No.
is this something
no,
different?
this is something different.
Okay, thank you.
Is this something against the commissioners, or is this something against the jail staff, or is this something like inmate on inmate?
I'd rather not talk about it until it's finalized.
When did this occur?
I'd rather talk about it when it's finalized. Anybody else got any public comments or questions?
I was not done, I said I had a
Okay.
couple of questions, but I will talk after them.
Okay, go ahead.
The other thing is, the sheriff's just announced a foreclosure task force.
I read it in the paper.
Okay, I just wanted to see what the commission thought about it.
It did come up, Ann Aiton actually brought it up to our attention several months ago regarding the Effingham case. I don't remember the other one coming up, but I remember the Effingham one. That's all I know about it right now.
Okay.
Probably a good idea. Yeah. Mr. Babson?
On the dispatch center, would it be good idea to develop a timeline on it? The question seems to be, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Did the sheriff back in Roy Larson's day decide they were going to expand and go into dispatching, and were the other towns offered the opportunity to join in? Or did the sheriff's department, like a giant amoeba, just start growing and say, okay, now your assessment is up? As a candidate, I'm sure this is going to be questions that are going to be asked to the three of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a tough one to answer unless you know where it gets started, or how it gets started.
I know Molten Borough was offered to come in since I've been here, and I believe the savings was somewhere around $90,000 to
I
them.
remember 100.
And they decided not to do that.
Yep.
I don't know when they started. I don't know when we started, actually. It's going to be a tough decision, and it's going to be up to the delegation to decide just what direction they want to go in.
And these people that don't want to pay, the three towns, will that mean that they won't be able to use any of the services? Or if on Saturday or 4th of July weekend they need more help, will we be able to bill them if they get a rebate on their taxes for the dispatch center?
I don't know. Good question.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, Maureen.
I just wanted to bring up the fact that you and I and some of the friends of Mountain View went out and walked around the county to look at where to put the future walking path for the employees and
The
Right.
county complex, not
Yeah.
the whole county.
county council. Hopefully that was inferred.
I'm right. I'm glad you brought that up. Go ahead.
I wanted you and I to say how that went, how you felt it went, and
I think it went pretty good. We're staying out of the fields as much as possible. We're going along the edges of them. It's fairly, there's no steep hills involved. Fairly level, fairly flat. It's pretty good size. It might have to be reduced some because people may not want to go on the full path that we went on. I didn't go on the second one, it went down below. Maybe you can comment on that one?
well, we're going to do it
Appreciate
also because of finances, we're going to do it in stages.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're hoping to set it up so that you can do this part, you can walk around it in and around in the upper part around this building. And then the lower part where the propane tank is, and then down closer to where the,
Pond?
where the pig shack is, and
Yeah.
down there, you can walk around that, loop through the garden, come back by the nursing home. We also tried to make it so that you can, in the nice weather, when the sun's shining brightly, in the winter, in the winter, when the sun's shining, did I put that backwards? In the summer, you want to be in the shade, in the winter, you want to be in the sun. That was
Mhm.
some of the concerns that we of making our decisions about where to put the path.
Right.
But I think and then the exercise stations, but the thing I wanted to bring up was the fact that Wendy is going to hopefully have a diagram of where this is going to, we looked at the places where it's going to be, and she's going to bring it to Farm Day, so that hopefully we can get input from
Okay.
people.
Will
Yeah.
there be signage
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
to get back to where you started from? I only asked this because I recently took one of these walking paths in Conway, in North Conway,
Mhm.
and the signage was, we were going around in circles. And we just had to figure out, by looking out to where the street was, that we could see which way it was back to where we'd come from. But we were just going around in circles before we figured it out.
Well, it's going to be set up so that you can go back the way you came.
Okay.
I mean, you're not going to get lost out here. It's
Yeah,
not gonna be
maybe
that
time
big,
for-
Dorothy.
Maybe time for a reservation down here, Dottie?
I'm sorry?
Maybe a time for reservation?
I mean, it's just a nice
Going
little,
around in circles.
it's just gonna be a nice little path so that you can